Good morning. My name is Cindy Hackett. I'm a member of the Board of Trustees of the Tahoma UU congregation, which means that I am one of those people who works for you. As we begin our gathering, I respectfully acknowledge that I speak to you today from occupied Puyallup ancestral land. I pay respect to the elders past and present and extend that respect to their descendants who are still living and working on this land, and all Indigenous people. We welcome all who are joining us today with the longing for community, the hope for peace, and who are seeking justice, guided by reason, respect for each other, and by love. The wonderful thing about this virtual platform is that we have an opportunity to welcome guests outside our traditional geographic area. In past Sundays, we have had visitors from across the country, even from across the ocean, as far away as England. So a very special welcome to our new friends and our returning friends from near and far away. I invite you to follow us on Facebook or to view services on Facebook if Zoom does not work for you, and on Twitter. Links to the video version of this service will be posted there this week, as well as on our website. You can find all of our program announcements this week in our e-news and listed on our church calendar. You'll also find Zoom links to those programs, which I find extremely helpful. And here are some of the highlights for the week. Following worship service today at 11:30, children are invited to the Kids Chapel with Nancy Slocum, our Director of Religious Exploration for Children and Youth. This Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. and continuing on Wednesday evenings through March, join Reverend Linda for conversations about widening our circle of concern, the report from the UUA Commission on Institutional Change. Some of the findings and recommendations of this report will be part of the discussion, as well as considering how to adopt some of them for ongoing work toward creating a more inclusive congregation. Reading the full report is recommended before joining the conversations, though all are welcome to come along to join in reflection. See the e-news or church calendar event for a list of the readings that will be covered each week. At noon today, join Doug Taylor for a drop-in chalice circle with the dive into our theme of the month. What does it mean to be a people of commitment? Good question. Tomorrow, Monday 15th, which is the Ides of March, join the Infinite Cups pagan group to celebrate the upcoming spring equinox with stories and songs during a turning of the wheel, a vernal equinox, bardic story, and song circle. On Tuesday, March 16th, Doug Taylor hosts Heart and Soul Circle for Contemplation and Connection. The gathering is limited to 12 participants. Participants will want to register for each individual Heart and Soul Circle. And please do register by noon on Monday for the gathering on Tuesday. On Saturday, March 20th, from 1 to 3 p.m., this sounds really fun to me, join the Infinite Cups for some fellowship and fun, and color some eggs to celebrate the return of spring. This is a BYOE, bring your own eggs, on Zoom gathering. So boil some eggs and prepare some dye to join in the fun. We have a group of volunteers moving forward to implement our safe parking pilot project that was approved a couple of weeks ago. If you'd like to volunteer with the project, check out the announcement in the e-news for details. Information also includes training opportunities that you may take advantage of now, even if you haven't decided how you might want to volunteer yet. Again, links for all of our programs can be found in the weekly online e-news or via the events on our church calendar. Let me make a correction, and Doug just put it in the chat. Heart and Soul will be at 7 p.m. this coming Tuesday. The new time is per consensus. We thank you deeply for your ongoing financial support to our congregation that makes all of these amazing programs possible, and also, so important, our staff who create and facilitate the programs and support these connections that we make through the congregation. And today, we are delighted to welcome Joe Rettenmeyer back to our pulpit. In January, Joe served as our sabbatical minister, while Reverend Linda took a brief sabbatical. He is a minister in the Unitarian Universalist Association and received his Master's of Divinity degree from the Meadville Lombard Theological School. Joe was raised in Kansas, and he has lived in the Salish Sea area since 1988. In 2016, he left a high-tech career to pursue his call to ministry, a call that aims to dismantle systemic racism, develop beloved LGBTQ+ and multicultural faith communities, and reverse climate change. Welcome back again, Joe. We're so happy to have you. So now, let us prepare to gather in worship.
Thank you, Cindy, and good morning, friends. It's wonderful to be back with you on this morning when we have sprung forward 1 hour. I wonder if we can give thanks that we are 1 hour closer to our shared future today. We are closer to the future that we desire, the vision we share for a renewed, faithful future of all the good that begins tender and green with promise. As Margaret Mead so wisely taught us, never underestimate the power of a small group of committed people to change the world. In fact, it is the only thing that ever has.
Thank you, Joe. Please ready your at-home chalice, or however is your custom, as Nancy lights our chalice in the sanctuary with beautiful daffodils from our own very TUC garden. Please join me in the unison reading as Nancy lights the chalice. We light this chalice in deep respect for the mystery and holiness of life, in honor and gratitude for those who have gone before, with love and compassion for those who dwell among us, and with hope and faith for the generations to come.
Good morning. I'm Nancy Slocum. I am the Director of Religious Exploration for Children and Youth here at Tahoma Unitarian Universalist Congregation, and this is our time for all ages, the time when we typically would have kids come up to the front of the sanctuary for a story or lesson before they head to their classes. So come close, kids and adults, for our time for all ages. In preparation for this week, I got in touch with Reverend Joe, our guest speaker this week, and he shared with me the words that he opened us with, the words of Margaret Mead that said, "Never underestimate the power of a small group of committed people to change the world. In fact, it's the only thing that ever has." Never underestimate the power. To underestimate something is to make it smaller than it really is, to think about it as smaller than it is. So we always have to know that there's a lot of power when a group of committed people come together to do great things. And when Joe shared that with me, I immediately thought of a young girl named Ellie. Actually, she's not so young now. I think she's probably about 13 or 14 now. And to be honest, I've never met Ellie. She's the granddaughter of friends of mine. And I have heard about Ellie, though, since she was quite young. And when she was 5 years old, she went to her grandparents and she said, I want to do something for people who don't have enough food to eat. She said, I want to make a lemonade and cookie stand so I can feed people who don't have enough food to eat. And so her grandparents were of course, really happy to hear that she wanted to help people. And as they talked about it and talked about what might be most useful and what might be most helpful, she ended up deciding that rather than just giving people cookies and lemonade, she thought she would have cookies and lemonade and other baked goods available and hold a bake sale and sell stuff and then take all that money and give it to her community food bank. A food bank is a place where people who, if they don't have enough money to buy food at the grocery store, they can go to a food bank where there's food available for them for free. And so she decided rather than just giving cookies and lemonade to people, she would raise some money and give that to the food bank so that the food bank could make sure that the food went to people who really needed it. So she was 5 years old. And so she and her grandparents, I think, helped her, and they got to baking stuff, baking cookies and such to sell at the stand, and made lemonade, and they told all their friends and families about it. And the day came and they had the event, and she raised $240 for her local food bank, which I thought was pretty amazing for a 5-year-old. $240, and she gleefully took that money to the food bank people and turned it over to them. But there's that bit about being committed. Ellie was committed to make a difference, and so she decided she wanted to do this every year. And so every year since she was 5, remember now I think she'll be 14 this summer, she has done something to raise money for the food banks. So the very next year, she had been talking about it with friends, I imagine, and her friend Sadie decided to join her. And so between the two of them, there were lots more friends and family to tell about the bake sale, and more people to bake for the bake sale. And they were hoping to make $240 again, but instead they made $623. So over 2.5 times what she had earned the year before. Well, now this definitely had to be an annual event. And so the next year they did it, and the next year, and another friend joined them. And then they ended up having siblings join in. And so each year they started raising more and more money. It was $1,200 one year, and then $1,600 one year, and then over $2,000. And then over $3,000. Last year, they weren't able to hold the bake sale because of the COVID-19, but they just took donations. They encouraged people to donate to the food banks, and nearly $3,500 went in to the food bank. In all, over these years since Ellie was 5, they have raised over $16,000 for their community food bank. All from a 5-year-old girl who wanted to do something to help people in her community. She saw a need. She figured out a way she could make a difference. Never underestimate the power of a small group of committed people to change the world, even 5-year-olds. Ellie made a commitment, didn't she? And for 9 years, she's dedicated her time and her energy to raising funds for the local food banks. She and her friends have made a difference in this world. We might not all be able to do lemonade and bake sales, but we can all think of ways that we can help, ways that we can make a difference. And we can all act on those ideas, just like Ellie did. Thank you, Ellie, and thank you to all the Ellies in the world who are making a difference. That's our time for all ages. I will share with you the words. We sing you out to classes. We hold you in our love as you go, as you go. May your heart be at peace as you go, to nurture the spark of your precious life. We hold you in our love as you go. Take care.
Good morning. My name is Sylvia. I am a member of the 2021 Pledge Drive Committee. We are happy to report that as of today, $12,018 have been raised from 12 pledges received. Thank you. This campaign is off to a great start. Information about this year's pledge drive, which includes a pledge form, were mailed out this past week. But you don't have to wait until you get it or even spend money on a stamp to mail it in. You can go to our website where you will find an online pledge form or click on the link that is now posted in the chat. Throughout the pledge drive, you will be hearing from fellow congregants who will share how they have put the Unitarian Universalist principles into action this year. They will share with you how their connection with TUUC made their experiences possible and why supporting TUUC matters and what it means to them. Today, you will hear from Thomas Oliver, who is a founding member of Infinite Cups, TUUC's chapter of the National UU Pagan Group. Thomas has also been very active with the ad hoc committee for facility security. It is through the work of this committee that TUUC joined the joint program of Pierce County and the Safe Parking Network to be part of the Safe Parking Pilot Program. The partnership and use of our now empty parking lot will help TUUC achieve the goal of better security of our church. And here is Thomas Oliver.
My name's Thomas Oliver. I have been a member of this congregation for about 6 years, and I was raised as a Unitarian Universalist. I've been asked to talk for a few minutes about what it means to me to be a part of this congregation and how it helps me live my faith and my truth. I'm a husband and father, a son and grandfather, a gay man, an office worker, and a garden fanatic. I'm pushy and impatient. I'm ambitious and devoted. I'm very generous of spirit and stingy with money. And I have a fountain of spiritual curiosity and energy. That spiritual energy, born and nurtured in the loving arms of the Unitarian Universalist faith, demands expression. I come here to replenish and refresh when the pressures of the world would push me off balance. But I also come here to focus my energies and make real the principles of this religious tradition, those principles that guide me. Following UU's third and fourth principles, I've been a founding member of Infinite Cups, our chapter of the National UU Pagan Group, exploring the wisdom that can be found in the teachings of earth-centered traditions. Following the first and second principles, I've worked with the ad hoc committee for facility security to help establish the Safe Parking Pilot Program in our parking lot, enfolding members beyond our walls with the respect and compassion expressed within. Following the seventh principle, I've worked to better manage our church's landscape, caring for our little corner of the earth. These are the things that I've done, that we have done together, weaving a tapestry of love we call community. We are woven of strong stuff. So when pledge time comes around, how do I approach it? With all that I am. I encourage you to be generous. Be generous to yourselves. Be generous to your community. Give what you can, and a penny more. Give with your wallets. Give with your hands. Give with your voices. Give with your hearts. How would you like to see the world? In honor and gratitude for those who have gone before, with love and compassion for those who dwell among us, and with hope and faith for the generations to come. Blessed be, and thank you. So I've just shared with you how my UU faith permeates my life. Now it's your turn. Let's create a word cloud together. Let's all take a moment to think of words that describe how your UU faith is a part of your life. On this slide, you can see the question and directions for adding your entry to our word cloud. What are one or two words you would use to describe how your faith is part of your life? To add to the word cloud, go to www.menti.com and enter this passcode, 9286-3540. And I understand it doesn't matter if you leave a space in there or not. Menti is smart enough to figure it out. Then add your words. Now take a few moments to watch our words come together.
Now is the time we offer our financial gifts to the work of this congregation. Thank you for your consideration to support our church during this unprecedented and now officially a year apart. You may follow the link on the slide or click the link in the chat or text your donation to contribute your support for our church members and staff working tirelessly and in very new and creative ways to keep our congregation connected. Every little bit helps, and while we are physically apart, our gifts are stronger together. After having a chance to do that, please join me in the unison reading as we dedicate our offering. We dedicate ourselves and our work and our offerings to the work of this congregation, weaving a tapestry of love we call community, both within and beyond these walls.
Thank you, Janina, and thank you, Thomas, for that menti. Ooh, beautiful word cloud. Our reading today comes from the Dalai Lama, from his book, A Call for Revolution, A Vision for the Future. You must stand up to the willful opposition to knowledge that is at large today, which is fraught with danger, where hatred, selfishness, violence, greed, and fanaticism are threatening the very future of life on earth. I know that you have the persistence and strength to take on the future, and that you will succeed in drawing a line under the willed ignorance that you have inherited. My young friends, you are my hope for humanity. I want to state it loudly and clearly so that you hear and respond to my message. I am confident in the future, for you have the capacity to lead humanity towards a renewed form of fraternity, justice, and solidarity. Friends, it's been 1 year since the pandemic brought shutdowns, masks, and distancing in order to save as many lives as possible. And before this emergency ends within our nation's borders, we will have lost more lives to the virus than were lost in all of our wars of the 20th century combined. 1 year ago this week, we were blindsided by the virus and the catastrophic future it foretold. Now that we are 1 year into the future since then, we have some experience of how exhausting 1 year can be as we've strived to keep our health and our hope in balance amidst so much turmoil, illness, and death of staggering proportions. Sadly, every one of us can now think of several people who have suffered from or passed away from COVID. And sadly, so many of us are suffering grief over the loss of loved ones, loss of livelihoods, loss of in-person connections. And all the while that this nightmare has been playing out, there is one particular ray of hope and inspiration that has been helping to keep my hope alive. And that's the inspiring, intensely focused research and development and mission in medicine across every country in the world. No one of us on this earth has ever lived through and witnessed this stunning speed of carrying out such a gargantuan mission all at the same time. Think about this, friends. Every single one of us 7 billion humans struggling to live interdependently and wholesomely on this planet, every one of us has played a role in our most gargantuan mission as a species to date, to save ourselves, our loved ones, and our neighbors from a future of cataclysmic death. That is not hyperbole, friends. Recall what our state of being was 1 year ago this week. With a never before known virus spreading through the air we share with astonishing speed all around the world, the future of our entire species at that time was so focused on the possibility of cataclysmic death. Unless most of us dialed down our pride and selfishness and instead bent our will toward the mission to stop the virus by changing 3 simple behaviors: wear a mask, stay 6 feet apart, and wash your hands. And with that, 1 year ago, we had a glimmer of relief. Suddenly, we had some sense of existential hope. We could envision an existential path forward that just might work, as strange and as unknown as it was to us. As a small group of leaders and experts broke the news that this was not an optional change in behavior, it was required that all of us organize ourselves around these life-saving behaviors if we were going to save ourselves from severe illness and death. Is there any greater emergency among humans than that? Saving ourselves from death. This spring, thank Spirit, thank heavens, thank whomever you wish, we are gaining access to the medicinal cures to protect our bodies from this death, and medicinal therapies to increase our chances of surviving the virus if we contract it. This spring, still so early and tender in its blooming, we can begin to heal ourselves, our families, our communities, arm in arm, arms helping arms, vaccinators, arms infusing vulnerable arms with the cure, beginning to guide us toward the future which we pray will be free of pandemic for every human on earth. Right now, this very day, we are beginning to move out of global death toward global hope, friends. This day, we can allow our souls to feel hope again for our global future. Are you feeling it? Scientific medical research and development by a relatively small group, globally speaking, rose to this never before known challenge. They have shown us a path to salvation from this illness by changing 3 simple behaviors, while other small groups of scientists raced to create a medicinal cure. Never underestimate the power of a small group of committed people to change the world. In fact, it is the only thing that ever has. Amen to that, Margaret Mead. That is not hyperbole. You speak the truth. So, will our future continue to be shaped by the pandemic stories we have lived, the visions for healing and interdependent balance we have prayed for so fervently? Spiritually, the future of our well being, our wholeness, our wholesomeness, once again, depends on our ability to balance the stories we will come to form about this global virus with the future of liberation we desire. So when you reflect on it, this week, right now, this is testament to how the power of the future has once again been made tangible, friends. And with all of this in mind, consider how all that we human beings create first finds expression in our minds, then becomes real through the structures and systems and solutions we build on this planet. And if this past year is not proof of how the visions and stories we collectively experience and share become what we create in this world, I don't know what is. This is why it's especially important at this breakthrough moment that we all continue the ways we have tended to and will tend to the overall balance of body, mind, and spirit. Consider how, when we do not tend to the health and wholesomeness of body, mind, and spirit the way we wish to, imagine or think, focus on how we create things in the world from a very haphazard approach. Our collective learning to develop mind, body, and spirit the way we want to is the basis of creating the world the way we want. When you commit your mind to an organized mission, you in turn organize the whole living system that is you, your body, your thoughts, your emotions, your energies. Your future becomes organized toward the mission that you want. Even if you don't do any action, you can still manifest what you want if you organize the energies, body, emotions, and thoughts that are who you are. One significant global challenge we face right now is that we are suffering from body, mind, and spirit changing direction minute after minute. You've heard me speak to this before. It's as if we are wanting to travel toward a destination, maybe on a group tour, destination as a group. But every 2 steps, we keep changing our direction. Our quest to reach that vision, that destination, seems to have become more difficult in recent years, thanks to the technology we have created to help make life beautiful and more fulfilled for all. But the blessing here is that when you commit to organizing your mind, you do also organize the body's emotions and thoughts of who you are right now in one overall direction. And anything that you wish to happen can happen. Imagine, if you will, if you finished everything, if you finished or received everything that you desire today. Imagine if you met every person you dream of meeting, if you accomplished all that you currently spend your mind's energy chasing 1 minute, then what you chase the next minute, and so forth. Imagine if all of that came to be in your mind, body, spirit today. Boom. Could you live with it? Could you actually handle holding all of that at once? This is why, through faithful spiritual practice, I've come to understand just how important it is that our thoughts, emotions, words, speech, our overall spiritual energy remain focused through wholesome spiritual self-discipline. Because when they're not, we create things that are destructive, even self-destructive. Yesterday, that was our problem. All of the technology humankind has created, which is supposed to make our life beautiful, can seem also like a threat to our livelihood and fulfillment, because it can distract us from living each day with conscious action. And when you consider this perspective, you come to appreciate that we have come to live, many of us, in a compulsive state of action. It seems that committing our mind's visions toward an organized goal fundamentally means moving from a compulsive state of activity to a conscious state of activity. We have all learned from particular people, sages, role models of wisdom who organize their lives for something, and beyond all expectations, it's come true for them. But have you also learned how this tends to happen to people who focus their minds with or through faith? For example, maybe you start thinking, I want to build a house. And to build a house, you need a pile of money. But right now, I only have $5 in my pocket, so it's not possible. It's just not possible. A very wise Tibetan Buddhist teacher of mine once shared with me that the moment you tell yourself it's not possible, you're also saying, I don't want it. So on one level, the large numbers of us who desire some goal, some change of action, some beneficial cause without faith that it is completely possible to achieve it. On another level, we may be actually telling ourselves, I don't want it. I have certainly found myself in this kind of self-conflicting mindset many times. And when I do, the things I've said I desire to commit to do not happen. However, consider those teachers of mind, body, spirit balance whom you admire, who have held faith in all our future can hold, or in the gods of their understanding, or in philosophies or organizations or mission statements, whatever it may be. I know you can think of someone in your consciousness who has faith in a wholesome, positive faith, whom you've also witnessed experiencing wholesome, positive mind, a mind that is not consumed by haphazard thoughts of will it happen, will it not happen. This conflicted thinking can be alleviated, if not altogether removed, through wholesome, healthy faith in your ability to create the future you desire. So, can you think of a better creation than this? You, my friend, are the creator. The spirit of life within you, that spirit of loving faith in all that life has to offer you tomorrow and the next day and the next, is wonderfully well. If you want life and the world's future to happen the way you desire for your well-being and the well-being of others, I will end with this perspective, which a faithful spiritual teacher once gave to me. If your mind, body, spirit feels unsatisfied as you emerge from a season of intense adversity, could it be that the reason you're unsatisfied or just outright unhappy is that life is not happening the way you think it could happen? As we now begin to move forward in life with renewed hope in all the future holds beyond the pandemic, if today's life is not happening the way you think it could happen and you are unhappy or discontent, commit to a group of people who are belovedly organized towards some future vision you have organized your mind, body, spirit toward as well. Commit and organize with that shared vision and mission, which is larger than yourself, so life can happen the way you think it can happen. It can be as simple as that, friends. May it be so. So now is a time in our service when we take a moment to pause and to enter a quiet space, a bit of quiet time together, and set an intention for the week, for the days ahead, based on what you've experienced in our service today. So quietly setting an intention. May it be so. Friends, as we journey forth into the days ahead, may we feel blessed to hold in our hearts all that the future holds. May we feel blessed to have leapt 1 hour closer to that future that we desire to create. May it be so.
What a lovely service today. Please join me as Nancy extinguishes our chalice with our unison reading. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And now our closing blessing song.
From you I receive, to you I give, together we live. From you I receive, to you I give, together we share, and by this we